Before the world demands your attention, before the notifications begin, before other people's expectations, opinions, problems, and emotions enter your mind, give yourself a few quiet moments to simply remember who you are. Take a slow, deep breath. Let your shoulders relax. Let your mind become still. You don't have to solve everything right now. You don't have to prove anything right now. You don't have to become someone else to deserve a beautiful day. For the next few minutes, this time belongs to you. And perhaps that is exactly what you need to hear this morning. You are allowed to choose yourself. Every morning is an opportunity to decide what kind of relationship you are going to have with yourself. You can wake up and immediately search for validation from the outside world, wondering who needs you, who is thinking about you, who responded to your message, who noticed your efforts, or whether you are doing enough, or you can begin differently. You can wake up and remind yourself that your value was never created by someone else's attention. Your worth did not begin when someone loved you, and it does not disappear when someone walks away. You were valuable before anyone recognized your value. You were worthy before anyone applauded you. And you remain worthy even on the days when you don't feel particularly confident, productive, attractive, or successful. So, before you give your energy to the world today, give some of that energy back to yourself. Ask yourself, how am I feeling this morning? Not what do I need to accomplish? Not what does everyone expect from me? Not how can I make everyone happy? Simply ask, how am I feeling? Give yourself permission to answer honestly. Maybe you're excited. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're uncertain. Maybe you're carrying something from yesterday that you haven't completely released. Whatever you're feeling, you don't have to judge yourself for it. You can acknowledge it without allowing it to control the entire direction of your day. Remember, self-love does not mean believing that you are perfect. It means refusing to treat yourself as though your imperfections make you unworthy of compassion. You will make mistakes. You will have difficult mornings. You will sometimes lose your patience, make the wrong decision, doubt yourself, or take a step backward. That does not mean you have failed at becoming the person you want to be. Growth is not a straight line. Some days you will feel powerful, and other days you will simply do your best to keep moving. Both days matter. Both versions of you deserve kindness. Perhaps you've spent years putting everyone else first. Perhaps you've learned to say yes when you wanted to say no. Perhaps you've become so focused on being needed that you forgot what it feels like to simply be yourself. Maybe you have given so much of your emotional energy to relationships, responsibilities, work, family, or other people's problems that you wake up feeling like there is nothing left for you. If that sounds familiar, let this morning be different. You don't have to abandon the people you love. You don't have to become cold or selfish. You simply need to remember that you belong on your own list of priorities too. Today, you are not going to chase approval. You are not going to measure your worth by someone else's response. You are not going to compare your life to carefully edited versions of other people's lives. You are not going to punish yourself for being human. Today, you are going to practice coming back to yourself. Take another deep breath. And as you breathe in, remind yourself, I am here. As you breathe out, I am safe in this moment. Breathe in, I choose peace. Breathe out, I release what I cannot control. Breathe in, I am worthy. Breathe out, I release the need to prove my worth. Let those words settle into your mind. You don't need everyone's approval to respect yourself. You don't need everyone to understand you to know who you are. You don't need to be chosen by everyone to recognize that you are worthy of love. Some people may misunderstand you. Some may underestimate you. Some may never recognize everything you bring into their lives. And that's okay. Your responsibility is not to convince every person of your value. Your responsibility is to stop forgetting your own value. This morning, make yourself a promise. Promise that you will speak to yourself with more kindness. Promise that when you make a mistake, You will correct yourself without destroying yourself. Promise that when you feel overwhelmed, you will pause instead of immediately reacting. Promise that when something doesn't work out, you will remind yourself that one disappointment does not define your entire future. And promise that you will stop abandoning yourself simply because someone else might be disappointed. Say this slowly to yourself. I choose myself today. I choose to respect myself. I choose to protect my peace. I choose to believe that I am worthy of love. I choose to stop measuring myself through other people's eyes. I choose to become someone I can trust. I choose to give myself the same patience, understanding, and compassion that I so freely give to others. And remember this throughout your day. Choosing yourself doesn't mean choosing against everyone else. It means choosing not to disappear while trying to love everyone around you. You can care deeply without carrying everything. You can love someone without losing yourself. You can help others without neglecting your own needs. You can be generous without constantly proving that you deserve to be needed. Today, let your peace become more important than your need to be understood. Let your self-respect become stronger than your fear of rejection. Let your inner voice become louder than the opinions surrounding you. The world will ask for your attention today. It will ask for your time, your energy, your patience, your work, and your emotions. Give what you genuinely can, but don't give everything away. Keep something for yourself. Keep your peace. Keep your dignity. Keep your dreams. Keep your boundaries. Keep your belief in who you are becoming, because the way you begin your morning matters. And this morning, you are beginning with a decision. I will not abandon myself today. Before you move into the rest of your day, remember one final truth. You are not here to spend your entire life becoming acceptable to other people. You are here to become more deeply connected to yourself, to grow, to learn, to love, to experience life, and to become the person you were capable of becoming all along. So take one more deep breath. You are here. You are growing. You are worthy. And today, before you give your love to the world, you will remember to give some of that love to yourself. Chapter 1. You are ebbed to love yourself. Now that you have chosen yourself this morning, I want you to understand something that may sound simple, but can completely change the way you live. You are allowed to love yourself, not after you become more successful, not after you lose weight, make more money, fix every mistake, find the right relationship, or finally become the person you think you are supposed to be. You are allowed to love yourself right now, exactly where you are, while you are still learning, still healing, still growing, and still figuring things out. For many people, self-love sounds almost uncomfortable. We have been taught to work hard, improve ourselves, take care of other people, and constantly find our weaknesses so we can fix them. There is nothing wrong with growth. Growth is beautiful. But there is a difference between wanting to become better and believing that you are not good enough until you become better. One comes from self-respect. The other comes from self-rejection. And this morning, I want you to stop confusing the two. You can want more for yourself without hating where you are now. You can have goals without believing that you are incomplete. You can recognize your weaknesses without allowing them to define your identity. You can look at your life honestly and still say, I am proud of myself for continuing. Self-love is not telling yourself that you are perfect. It is learning to treat yourself like a human being who deserves patience while becoming stronger. Think about how you speak to the people you genuinely love. When someone you care about makes a mistake, you probably don't immediately tell them that they are worthless. You don't remind them of every mistake they have ever made. You don't tell them that one bad decision means they will never succeed. You probably encourage them. You remind them that mistakes happen. You help them see what they can learn. You tell them to keep going. Now ask yourself honestly, why don't you offer that same compassion to yourself? Why do you sometimes become your own harshest critic? Why do you demand perfection from yourself while giving everyone else permission to be human? Why do you replay embarrassing moments from years ago as though you are still the person who made those decisions? Why do you allow one rejection to convince you that nobody will ever love you? Why do you allow one failure to convince you that you are a failure? Today, that pattern can begin to change. Self-love begins with the way you speak to yourself when nobody else is listening. Your inner dialogue matters. The words you repeatedly tell yourself become the environment your mind lives in. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," your mind begins searching for evidence. If you constantly tell yourself, "Everyone is ahead of me," you begin seeing life through comparison. If you constantly tell yourself, "I always mess everything up," every mistake becomes proof of a story that was never completely true. But you can create a different story. You can begin saying, "I am learning." Instead of, "I'm behind," say, "My journey is still unfolding." Instead of, "I'm not enough," say, "I am worthy while I grow." Instead of, "I should have known better," say, "Now I know better, and I can choose differently." This is not pretending that problems don't exist. It is refusing to turn problems into an identity. There is a powerful difference between saying, "I made a mistake," and saying, "I am a mistake." One describes an event. The other attacks your entire identity. You are not your worst day. You are not your biggest failure. You are not the relationship that ended. You are not the opportunity you missed. You are not the rejection you received. You are not the opinion someone formed about you when they didn't understand your story. You are a person who is still becoming. And there is freedom in understanding that you don't have to wake up every morning trying to prove that you deserve to exist. You don't have to earn the right to respect yourself. Your worth is not a salary. It is not a popularity score. It is not a number of followers, likes, achievements, possessions, or compliments. Your worth is not something other people hand to you. And because of that, other people cannot take it away. Someone can reject you without making you unworthy. Someone can misunderstand you without making you meaningless. Someone can leave you without making you impossible to love. Someone can criticize you without becoming the final authority on who you are. Let that truth settle into your mind this morning. You are allowed to love yourself even when somebody else doesn't. You are allowed to respect yourself even when somebody else doesn't recognize your value. You are allowed to believe in yourself even when somebody else doubts you. And perhaps most importantly, you are allowed to walk away from situations that repeatedly require you to abandon yourself just to remain accepted. Self-love also means listening to your needs. Sometimes your mind needs quiet. Sometimes your body needs rest. Sometimes your heart needs space. Sometimes you need to say no. Sometimes you need to stop explaining yourself. Sometimes you need to step away from a conversation that is draining you. Sometimes you need to admit, "This isn't good for me anymore." You don't have to feel guilty every time you take care of yourself. Rest is not laziness. Boundaries are not cruelty. Saying no is not hatred. Choosing peace is not weakness. Taking care of yourself is not selfish when you have spent years giving everything you have to everyone else. And remember, self-love does not mean that you stop caring about other people. In fact, healthy self-love can make your relationships healthier because you no longer expect other people to constantly rescue you, validate you, complete you, or define you. You can love someone without making them responsible for your entire happiness. You can care about someone without losing your identity. You can support someone without carrying their entire life on your shoulders. You can give without destroying yourself in the process. That is what healthy self-love looks like. It says, "I care about you, and I care about me too." It says, "Your feelings matter, and mine matter too." It says, "I can listen to you without abandoning my own truth." And this morning, I want you to practice that balance. Put your hand over your heart if that feels comfortable. take a slow breath and repeat these words quietly in your mind. I am allowed to love myself. I am allowed to respect myself. I am allowed to protect my peace. I am allowed to make mistakes and learn from them. I am allowed to grow at my own pace. I am allowed to change my mind. I am allowed to say no. I am allowed to rest. I am allowed to have boundaries. I am allowed to take up space. I am allowed to believe in myself. I am worthy of my own compassion. Take a breath and let those words become more than something you hear. Let them become something you practice, because self-love is not created in one morning. It is built through thousands of small decisions. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build self-trust. Every time you say no to something that violates your values, you build self-respect. Every time you forgive yourself instead of attacking yourself, you build emotional strength. Every time you choose progress instead of perfection, you build confidence. Every time you stop comparing yourself to someone else and return your attention to your own journey, you build peace. And every time you choose yourself without needing to make someone else feel small, you become stronger. So don't wait until you feel completely confident to start loving yourself. Start now. Love yourself while you're uncertain. Love yourself while you're rebuilding. Love yourself while you're learning. Love yourself while you're becoming. You don't have to become a completely different person before you deserve your own kindness. The person you are today deserves compassion too. And maybe that's the mindset shift you need this morning. You are not waking up today to become worthy. You are waking up today because you already are worthy. And now you get to live from that truth. So as you move into the rest of your morning, remember this. You don't need to hate yourself into becoming better. You don't need shame to create growth. You don't need criticism to become disciplined. You can grow through encouragement. You can become stronger through self-respect. You can change your life while still being gentle with yourself. Today, choose progress without punishment. Choose discipline without cruelty. Choose ambition without self-hatred. Choose confidence without arrogance. And above all, choose love without abandoning yourself. Because the more you learn to love yourself in a healthy and grounded way, the less desperate you become for the world to convince you that you matter. You stop chasing every person who walks away. You stop begging for attention. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that were never designed for you. You stop believing that rejection is a verdict on your worth. And slowly, something powerful happens. You become comfortable being yourself, not because everyone finally approves of you, but because you finally approve of yourself. And that is where real confidence begins. Chapter 2. Stop begging the world to locate you. Now that you have reminded yourself that you are allowed to love yourself, there is another habit you need to release. The constant need for the world to tell you that you are enough. Take a deep breath and think about how much of your emotional life has been controlled by other people's reactions. How often have you looked at your phone, hoping for a message that would make you feel important? How often have you posted something and secretly waited to see who would like it? How often have you changed your opinion because you were afraid someone wouldn't agree with you? How often have you questioned your value because someone ignored you, rejected you, criticized you, or chose someone else? If you have done these things, don't judge yourself. The need for validation is human. We all want to feel seen, appreciated, respected, and loved. There is nothing wrong with enjoying encouragement from other people. The problem begins when encouragement becomes the foundation of your identity. When you need other people to constantly confirm your worth, you give them control over your emotional state. Their attention can make you feel powerful, and their silence can make you feel worthless. Their approval can lift you up, while their rejection can completely destroy your confidence. That is too much power to give away. Imagine waking up every morning and handing a different person the remote control to your emotions. Today, they press the approval button and you feel amazing. Tomorrow, they ignore you and suddenly you feel invisible. Another day, someone criticizes you and you spend hours questioning yourself. Another day, someone compliments you and your confidence comes rushing back. Your emotional foundation should not be built like that. You need something deeper. You need an inner sense of worth that remains steady even when the outside world becomes unpredictable. Because people are unpredictable. People change their minds. People misunderstand. People get busy. People become distracted. People have their own wounds, insecurities, preferences, and expectations. Sometimes someone will reject you simply because you are not what they are looking for. Sometimes someone won't appreciate you because they don't know how to recognize what you bring. Sometimes someone will misunderstand you because they don't have the full story. None of those things automatically mean something is wrong with you. One of the most important mindset shifts you can make is learning to separate someone's response to you from your value as a person. Someone not choosing you does not mean you are unworthy of being chosen. Someone not understanding you does not mean you are impossible to understand. Someone not appreciating your effort does not mean your effort had no value. Someone leaving your life does not mean you are destined to be alone, and someone else's opinion is still just an opinion. You have to learn to hear other people's perspectives without immediately turning them into your identity. If someone gives you useful criticism, learn from it. If someone points out something you genuinely need to improve, take responsibility, but don't turn constructive feedback into self-hatred. There is a difference between saying, "I have something to work on," and saying, "There is something fundamentally wrong with me." The first creates growth, the second creates shame. And shame rarely produces the healthy transformation you are looking for. This morning, I want you to stop asking the world, "Am I enough?" Instead, begin asking yourself, "Am I living according to my values?" That question changes everything, because when you live for approval, you constantly look outward. When you live according to your values, you look inward. You begin asking, "Am I being honest? Am I being kind? Am I keeping my promises? Am I taking responsibility? Am I treating myself and others with respect? Am I moving toward the person I want to become?" Those questions give you something far more powerful than approval. They give you self-respect. And self-respect lasts much longer than applause. Applause disappears. Compliments fade. Likes disappear into the feed. People move on. But when you know that you kept your word to yourself, when you know you did something difficult even though nobody was watching, when you know you walked away from something unhealthy even though it was painful, when you know you chose discipline instead of giving in, something inside you changes. You begin trusting yourself. And when you trust yourself, you don't need constant validation from everyone else. Think about the strongest people you know. Real confidence doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks incredibly quiet. It looks like someone who doesn't need to announce every decision. Someone who can sit alone without feeling abandoned. Someone who can receive criticism without falling apart. Someone who can accept praise without becoming dependent on it. Someone who knows who they are, even when the room doesn't agree with them. That is the kind of confidence you are building, not the confidence that says, "Everyone must like me." The confidence that says, "I will be okay even if everyone doesn't." That is freedom. You don't have to convince everyone to understand your journey. You don't have to explain every decision. You don't have to prove that your pain was real. You don't have to convince someone who has already decided to misunderstand you. And you don't have to chase people who repeatedly demonstrate that they don't value your presence. Let people choose. Let people leave. Let people misunderstand. Let people have their opinions. Your job is not to control everyone's perception of you. Your job is to control how you respond. This does not mean becoming indifferent. It means becoming emotionally grounded. You can care without chasing. You can love without begging. You can listen without surrendering your identity. You can accept rejection without rejecting yourself. You can experience disappointment without deciding that your entire future is hopeless, and you can enjoy recognition without needing it to survive. That is what internal validation looks like. It means you become the first person who recognizes your own effort. You become the first person who notices your growth. You become the first person who celebrates your progress. You become the first person who says, "I'm proud of you." Maybe nobody knows how hard you have been working. Maybe nobody knows how many times you almost gave up. Maybe nobody sees the internal battles you fought just to get to this morning. But you know, and that matters. You know the mornings when you got out of bed, despite feeling exhausted. You know the moments when you chose not to respond in anger. You know the times you kept going when quitting would have been easier. You know the things you have survived. You know the progress nobody else can see. Start giving yourself credit for those things. This morning, instead of waiting for someone else to validate you, validate yourself. Say, "I see my effort. I recognize my growth. I am proud that I kept going. I don't need everyone to approve of me. I don't need to be perfect to be worthy. I can learn from criticism without allowing it to define me. I can accept rejection without rejecting myself. My worth is not determined by someone else's opinion." Take a slow breath and let this next idea sink in deeply. You don't need to be universally loved to be deeply valuable. There are billions of people in the world, and they will not all understand you. They will not all like your personality, your choices, your appearance, your beliefs, your dreams, or your way of living. That's okay. You were never meant to be everyone's favorite person. Trying to become universally acceptable will eventually force you to become a stranger to yourself. You will change your voice. You will hide your opinions. You will suppress your dreams. You will say yes when you mean no. You will constantly monitor how other people react to you. And eventually, you may receive the approval you were chasing, but lose the person you actually are. Don't make that trade. Your goal is not to become acceptable to everyone. Your goal is to become honest with yourself. So today, when you notice yourself asking, "What will they think?" pause, ask instead, "What do I think?" When you find yourself wondering, "Do they approve of me?" ask, "Do I respect the decision I'm making?" When you feel the urge to chase someone's attention, pause and remind yourself, "I don't have to chase what is meant to meet me with mutual effort." When someone doesn't respond the way you hoped, don't immediately create a painful story about yourself. You don't know what is happening inside their life. You don't know their circumstances. And you certainly don't need to turn their behavior into a verdict on your worth. Come back to yourself. Come back to your values. Come back to your peace. Because the moment you stop begging the world to validate you, you reclaim something incredibly valuable, your emotional independence. You stop waking up asking the world who you are. You wake up already knowing. You stop asking, "Am I enough?" You start saying, "I am enough to begin." You stop asking, "Do they like me?" You start asking, "Do I like the person I am becoming?" And you stop asking, "How can I make everyone happy?" You start asking, "How can I live today with integrity, peace, courage, and self-respect?" That is the morning mindset shift. You are not here to spend your life auditioning for acceptance. You are here to live. You are here to grow. You are here to become. And today, you don't need the world to tell you that you matter. You already know. Chapter 3. Stop comparing your life to everyone else. Now that you are learning to stop seeking validation from the outside world, there is another habit you need to release: comparing your life to everyone else's. Because comparison has a quiet way of stealing your peace. It doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it appears as a simple thought when you open your phone in the morning. You see someone celebrating a new job, buying a beautiful home, traveling somewhere you've always wanted to visit, getting married, building a successful business, becoming healthier, or simply looking happier than you feel today. And suddenly, without even realizing it, you begin questioning your own life. You start thinking, why am I not there yet? Why haven't I achieved that? What am I doing wrong? Maybe I'm falling behind. And before the morning has even properly begun, you have turned someone else's highlight into evidence against yourself. But listen carefully. Someone else's progress is not proof of your failure. Their success does not make you unsuccessful. Their beauty does not make you unattractive. Their relationship does not make you unlovable. Their income does not determine your worth. Their timeline does not determine yours. You are living a completely different life, with different circumstances, different experiences, different responsibilities, different opportunities, different challenges, and a different starting point. So comparing your entire journey to one visible piece of someone else's journey is not a fair comparison. Think about social media for a moment. You may see someone's perfect morning, successful career, beautiful relationship, expensive vacation, impressive body, or incredible achievement. But you don't see the entire story behind that image. You don't see the uncertainty they experienced. You don't see the failures that came before it. You don't see the private struggles they may be dealing with. You don't see the nights they cried, the mistakes they made, the doubts they carried, or the parts of their life they chose not to show. You are comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel, and that comparison will almost always make you feel like you're losing. So today, stop playing a game you can never win. Your life is not a race against everyone around you. There is no universal deadline for success. There is no single age when you are supposed to have everything figured out. There is no specific timeline that says you must have a certain career, income, relationship, house, body, or lifestyle by a certain point. Life doesn't work that way. Some people find their direction early. Some people discover themselves later. Some people build quickly. Some people rebuild after losing everything. Some people take a straight path. Others take 5 different paths before discovering where they belong. None of those journeys automatically makes one person better than another. Your timeline is your timeline, and you need to start respecting it. Maybe you're not where you thought you would be at this point in your life. That's okay. You can acknowledge that without turning it into shame. You can want more without hating what you have. You can recognize that you need to improve without convincing yourself that you are behind as a human being. There is a difference between healthy ambition and destructive comparison. Healthy ambition says, I want to grow. Carstensen says, I need to prove that I'm better. Healthy ambition says, I want to build a better future. Comparison says, I need what they have so I can finally feel worthy. Healthy ambition motivates you. Comparison consumes you. Healthy ambition brings your attention back to your own actions. Comparison keeps your attention trapped inside someone else's life. So this morning, bring your attention back. Back to your path, back to your goals, back to your growth, back to your own life. Ask yourself a better question instead of asking, why am I not where they are? Ask, what is one thing I can do today to move closer to where I want to be? That question gives you power. Maybe the answer is making one important phone call. Maybe it's exercising for 20 minutes. Maybe it's reading 10 pages. Maybe it's applying for an opportunity. Maybe it's saving money instead of spending impulsively. Maybe it's finally starting the project you've been postponing. Maybe it's getting enough sleep. Maybe it's having an honest conversation. Maybe it's simply taking care of yourself today. Small actions matter. You don't need to transform your entire life before breakfast. You just need to take the next right step. one step, then another, and eventually you will look back and realize that the person you were comparing yourself to was never your real competition. Your real competition was the version of you who was afraid to begin. Your real competition was the version of you who kept making excuses. Your real competition was the version of you who constantly waited for the perfect moment. Your real competition was yesterday's version of yourself. And that is a much healthier comparison. Ask yourself, am I wiser than I was before? Am I more disciplined than I used to be? Am I handling challenges differently? Am I becoming more emotionally mature? Am I making better decisions? Am I learning to respect myself? Am I moving forward even if the movement is slow? If the answer is yes, then you are making progress. Don't dismiss small progress simply because it doesn't look impressive from the outside. Sometimes growth is invisible. Sometimes growth looks like staying calm where you once reacted. Sometimes growth looks like walking away from something you once begged to keep. Sometimes growth looks like finally saying no. Sometimes growth looks like getting out of bed on a difficult morning and deciding to try again. Sometimes growth looks like forgiving yourself. Sometimes growth looks like choosing peace over proving a point. Not every victory will be visible on social media. Some of your greatest victories will happen in silence, and those victories still count. So stop measuring your life by what can be photographed. Stop measuring your worth by what can be posted. Stop measuring your success by someone else's definition. You are allowed to build a life that looks different. Maybe your dream is smaller than someone else's. Maybe it's bigger. Maybe your priorities are different. Maybe you don't want the lifestyle that everyone else is chasing. That's okay. You don't need to want what everyone else wants. You need to know what matters to you. Because if you don't define success for yourself, the world will define it for you. And the world's definition will always move. There will always be someone richer, someone younger, someone more attractive, someone more popular, someone more successful, someone with a bigger house, someone with more followers, someone who seems further ahead. If your happiness depends on being ahead of everyone else, you will never arrive. The finish line will keep moving. But when you define success according to your own values, something changes. You can finally appreciate your progress. You can celebrate your own milestones. You can enjoy the life you are building instead of constantly checking whether someone else is building faster. And that's what I want for you today. I want you to look at your life with fresh eyes. Not through the eyes of comparison, through the eyes of gratitude. Look at how far you've come. Think about what you know now that you didn't know 5 years ago. Think about what you can handle now that once would have broken you. Think about the lessons you have learned. Think about the people you have outgrown. Think about the habits you have changed. Think about the strength you developed because life demanded it from you. You have already survived things that once seemed impossible. Don't let comparison make you forget that. Take a slow breath and repeat these words. I respect my journey. I trust my timing. I don't need to compete with someone else's life. Their success does not reduce my potential. Their timeline is not my timeline. I am allowed to grow at my own pace. I focus on progress, not comparison. I celebrate where I am while continuing to grow. I am becoming better than I was yesterday. Let that become your mindset today. When comparison appears, don't fight it with shame. Simply notice it. Say to yourself, there I go comparing again. Then return your attention to your own life. Return to your work. Return to your goals. Return to your relationships. Return to your health. Return to your peace. Because every minute you spend obsessing over someone else's journey is a minute you are not investing in your own. Your attention is one of your most valuable resources. Protect it. Don't give it away every time someone else succeeds. Someone else's good news doesn't require your bad news. Someone else's beautiful moment doesn't cancel yours. Someone else's chapter 10 does not invalidate your chapter 3. You might be in the beginning of something that will eventually change your entire life. You might be planting seeds that nobody can see yet, and just because the tree hasn't appeared doesn't mean the seed isn't growing. So be patient with yourself. Keep planting, keep learning, keep showing up, keep moving. One day, you may look back at this exact season of your life and realize that what felt like a delay was actually preparation. What felt like being behind was actually your path unfolding at its own pace. What felt like failure was actually redirection. You don't know everything that is being built through your current season, so don't rush to judge it. Don't compare your unfinished story to someone else's finished chapter. Your story is still being written. And today, you get to write another page. Make it a page of courage, a page of self-respect, a page of discipline, a page of peace, a page where you stop looking sideways and start looking forward, because your life deserves your full attention. Your dreams deserve your energy. Your future deserves your focus. And most importantly, you deserve to experience your own life instead of constantly comparing it to somebody else's. So this morning, let comparison go. Not because you have nothing to improve, but because you finally understand that your growth doesn't require someone else's life as a measuring stick. You don't need to be ahead of everyone. You simply need to keep moving. Your timeline is yours. Your journey is yours. Your story is yours. And there is still so much ahead of you. Chapter 4. Become your own safe place. Now that you are learning to stop comparing your life to everyone else, there is another powerful shift you can make this morning. Become your own safe place. Not a place you have to escape from. Not a mind you constantly fight against. Not a version of yourself that you are always criticizing. Become someone you can return to when life becomes overwhelming. Become the person who reminds you, we will figure this out. We don't have to panic. We don't have to have every answer right now. We can take this one step at a time. Think about what the word safe means to you. A safe place is somewhere you can breathe, somewhere you don't have to pretend, somewhere you don't have to constantly perform, somewhere you can lower your guard, somewhere you can be honest about what you're feeling without being punished for it. And while other people can provide comfort, support, and love, one of the greatest gifts you can develop is the ability to create that sense of safety within yourself. Because life will not always be calm. There will be mornings when plans change. There will be conversations you didn't expect. There will be disappointments, uncertainty, criticism, financial pressure, relationship problems, unexpected responsibilities, and moments when you simply don't know what to do next. If your inner world has no foundation, every external problem can feel like a disaster. But when you become your own safe place, something changes. The problem may still be difficult, but you don't immediately become consumed by it. You can say, "This is difficult, but I can handle difficult things." You can say, "I don't know the answer yet, but I can find the next step." You can say, "I am disappointed, but I don't have to destroy myself because of this disappointment." You can say, "I feel afraid, but fear does not have to make my decisions for me." That is emotional safety. It doesn't mean you never feel anxious, sad, angry, or uncertain. It means you learn that emotions can exist without controlling your entire identity. You can feel something without becoming it. You can experience fear without becoming a fearful person. You can experience sadness without deciding that your life is hopeless. You can experience anger without allowing it to control your behavior. You can experience uncertainty without assuming that everything will go wrong. Your emotions are signals. They deserve to be heard, but they don't always deserve to be obeyed. So this morning, practice creating a little space between what happens and how you respond. When something goes wrong, pause, take a breath, notice what you are feeling. Then ask yourself, What do I actually need right now? Maybe you need information. Maybe you need rest. Maybe you need to communicate. Maybe you need to set a boundary. Maybe you need to walk away for a moment. Maybe you simply need to stop imagining 10 different disasters that haven't happened. You don't have to solve an imaginary future problem today. Come back to what is actually happening. Come back to this breath. Come back to this moment. Come back to what you can control. Because one of the biggest ways we make ourselves feel unsafe is by constantly living in a future that doesn't exist yet. We imagine conversations before they happen. We imagine rejection before we apply. We imagine failure before we begin. We imagine people leaving before they have given us a reason to believe they will. We imagine everything going wrong and then wonder why our bodies feel exhausted. Today, give yourself permission to stop rehearsing disasters. You don't need to solve tomorrow before you've lived today. You don't need to know exactly how everything will work out. You only need to know the next step. And if you don't know the next step yet, you can pause. You can breathe. You can gather information. You can ask for help. You can wait until your mind becomes clearer. There is strength in not reacting immediately. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is create a pause. A pause between the message and your response. A pause between the criticism and your reaction. A pause between the fear and your decision. A pause between the problem and the conclusion you create about yourself. That pause is where your power lives. And becoming your own safe place also means keeping promises to yourself. If you tell yourself you're going to do something, try to follow through. If you say you're going to wake up and take care of your body, honor that promise. If you decide you're going to stop contacting someone who repeatedly hurts you, honor that boundary. If you promise yourself that you're going to spend less time scrolling and more time building your future, keep that promise. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-trust grows. And every time you repeatedly break promises to yourself, your confidence slowly weakens. This is why self-love is not just about saying beautiful affirmations. It is also about action. It is about proving to yourself, through small, consistent choices, that you can depend on yourself. You don't need to make enormous promises. Start small. Tell yourself, today, I will take a 20-minute walk. Then take the walk. Tell yourself, today, I will spend 30 minutes working on something that matters to me. Then do it. Tell yourself, today, I will not respond to negativity immediately. Then pause. Tell yourself, tonight, I will give myself time to rest. Then allow yourself to rest. Small promises, small actions, repeated consistently, that is how self-trust is built. And as your self-trust grows, you become less desperate for someone else to rescue you from every uncomfortable feeling. You begin realizing, I can be there for myself, not because you never need other people. You will still need friends. You will still need family. You will still need community. You will still benefit from advice, encouragement, professional support, and meaningful relationships. Being your own safe place does not mean isolating yourself. It means knowing that even when support isn't immediately available, you don't have to turn against yourself. You become the voice inside your mind that says, we can get through this. Let's slow down. Let's think clearly. Let's not make a permanent decision based on a temporary emotion. Let's learn from this. Let's try again. That voice can change your life. Because imagine what would happen if, instead of attacking yourself every time something went wrong, you became your own coach. Instead of saying, you always ruin everything, you said, okay, what happened and what can we learn? Instead of saying, I'm never going to succeed, you said, this didn't work. Let's find another approach. Instead of saying, nobody will ever love me, you said, this relationship ended and it hurts, but my ability to love and be loved did not end with it. Instead of saying, I'm falling behind, you said, I'm going to focus on the next step. That is how you create emotional safety. You don't lie to yourself. You don't pretend everything is perfect. You simply refuse to become your own enemy. So, take a slow breath now and repeat these words. I am becoming a safe place for myself. I can handle uncomfortable emotions. I don't have to react immediately. I can pause before I respond. I trust myself to take the next step. I don't need to know everything today. I can ask for help when I need it. I can protect my boundaries. I can forgive myself when I make mistakes. I will not abandon myself when life becomes difficult. Let those words settle inside you. And remember, your inner safe place is not built in one dramatic moment. It is built every morning. It is built when you wake up and choose not to immediately overwhelm yourself with everything that could go wrong. It is built when you speak to yourself with compassion. It is built when you allow yourself to rest. It is built when you walk away from unnecessary chaos. It is built when you stop chasing people who repeatedly make you question your worth. It is built when you stop betraying your own values just to keep someone else comfortable. It is built when you trust yourself enough to say, I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. So when the world becomes loud today, come back to yourself. When someone disappoints you, come back to yourself. When you make a mistake, come back to yourself. When fear starts creating stories about the future, come back to yourself. Take a breath, pause. Observe, accept what is happening. Then choose your response. Breathe, pause. Observe, accept, choose. Remember those 5 words. They can become your morning reset. Because you don't have to control everything happening around you to create peace within yourself. You only need to become someone you can trust when life becomes unpredictable. And that is the person you are becoming now. Not someone who never struggles. Not someone who never gets scared. Not someone who always knows what to do. But someone who knows how to come back to themselves. Someone who can say, I may be uncomfortable, but I am still here. I may not have all the answers, but I can take the next step. I may be facing something difficult, but I will not turn against myself. And that is powerful, because when you become your own safe place, you stop looking for peace everywhere except within yourself. You stop expecting the outside world to constantly make you feel secure. You stop believing that another person must fix your emotions before you can be okay. You learn that peace can begin with something as simple as one breath, one honest thought, one healthy boundary, and one decision to stay on your own side. So carry this with you today. I am on my own side. I will not abandon myself. I will not punish myself for being human. I will not allow temporary chaos to define my permanent identity. I will breathe. I will pause. I will think. I will choose. And no matter what happens today, I will come back to myself. Because I am learning to become the safe place I have been searching for. Chapter 5. Stop abandoning yourself for other people. There is a moment in many people's lives when they realize something painful. They have spent so much time trying to keep everyone else happy that they forgot how to keep themselves whole. They became so focused on being loved, accepted, needed, and understood that they slowly began abandoning the person who needed their love the most, themselves. Maybe you know what that feels like. Maybe you've said yes when everything inside you wanted to say no. Maybe you've stayed quiet when someone hurt you because you were afraid that speaking honestly would create conflict. Maybe you've apologized even when you weren't the one who caused the problem. Maybe you've changed your personality depending on who you were around. Maybe you've tolerated disrespect because you were afraid of losing someone. Maybe you've repeatedly put your dreams, needs, boundaries, and peace at the bottom of the list because someone else always seemed to need you more. And perhaps you told yourself, that's just what love looks like. But love should not require you to disappear. Caring about other people is beautiful. Being generous is beautiful. Supporting the people you love is beautiful. But there is a difference between loving someone and abandoning yourself to keep them. You can love someone and still say no. You can care about someone and still have boundaries. You can understand someone's feelings without taking responsibility for all of them. You can forgive someone without allowing them unlimited access to hurt you again. You can support someone without sacrificing your entire identity. And you can walk away from something unhealthy without becoming a bad person. Let that sink in this morning, because sometimes we are not afraid of losing people. We are afraid of what losing those people will make us feel about ourselves. We fear being alone. We fear being rejected. We fear disappointing someone. We fear being called selfish. We fear that if we stop giving, stop chasing, stop fixing, stop apologizing, or stop making ourselves available, people will stop loving us. So we keep giving, we keep adjusting, we keep explaining, we keep forgiving, we keep accepting, until one day we look at ourselves and realize we don't recognize the person we've become. That is self-abandonment, and it often happens slowly. You don't wake up one morning and decide to betray yourself. It happens through small compromises. You ignore one feeling, then another. You stay silent once, then again. You let one boundary slide, then another. You keep saying, it's okay, when it isn't okay. You keep saying, I don't mind, when you do mind. You keep saying, maybe they'll change, while watching the same pattern repeat. And eventually, you become so disconnected from your own needs that you don't even know what you want anymore. Today, that pattern can begin to end. Start by listening to yourself again. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? What do I need? What am I tolerating that is draining me? Where am I saying yes because I'm afraid to say no? Where am I pretending to be okay because honesty feels uncomfortable? Where have I been choosing someone else's comfort over my own peace? Don't judge the answers. Just listen, because self-respect begins with honesty. You cannot protect yourself from something you refuse to acknowledge. And sometimes the truth is uncomfortable. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe you're disappointed. Maybe you're angry. Maybe you're lonely. Maybe you've outgrown a relationship. Maybe you've been trying to earn love from someone who simply isn't capable of giving you the kind of love you need. Maybe you've been waiting for an apology that may never come. Maybe you've been trying to prove your value to someone who has already decided not to see it. If that's true, you don't have to hate them. You don't have to get revenge. You don't have to create drama. You simply have to stop abandoning yourself. That may mean creating distance. It may mean saying no. It may mean having an honest conversation. It may mean changing what you are willing to accept. And sometimes it may mean letting go. Letting go can be painful, but staying somewhere that repeatedly destroys your self-respect can be painful too. The difference is that one kind of pain helps you move forward, the other keeps you trapped. So today, remember this. You are not responsible for keeping everyone comfortable. You are responsible for living with integrity. If someone becomes disappointed because you established a healthy boundary, their disappointment does not automatically mean you did something wrong. If someone becomes angry because you stopped allowing disrespect, their anger does not automatically mean you were cruel. If someone no longer wants access to you because you began respecting yourself, that may be painful, but it doesn't mean you made the wrong choice. You are allowed to change the terms of your life. You are allowed to say, I can't do that. I don't have the energy for that today. That doesn't work for me. I need some time. I don't agree. I need to think about it. I am not comfortable with that. I deserve to be spoken to with respect. These sentences may feel difficult if you are used to pleasing everyone. But remember, a boundary is not a punishment. A boundary is information. It tells people what you will and will not participate in. And healthy relationships can survive healthy boundaries. In fact, healthy relationships often become stronger because of them. The people who genuinely care about You may not always agree with your boundaries, but they can respect them. And if someone only wants you when you have no boundaries, what they may have wanted was access, not a healthy relationship. That's a powerful distinction. You don't have to become hard. You don't have to stop loving. You don't have to stop being generous. You simply need to stop giving from a place of fear. Don't give because you're afraid they will leave. Don't say yes because you're afraid they will be angry. Don't stay because you're afraid you'll never find anyone else. Don't shrink because you're afraid someone will outgrow you. Choose from self-respect instead. Give because you genuinely want to. Stay because the relationship is healthy. Say yes because it aligns with your values. Help because you have the capacity. Love because you are free to love, not because you are terrified of being abandoned. There is a major difference between choosing someone and needing someone to choose you so you can feel worthy. When you choose someone from wholeness, you can love them deeply without losing yourself. But when you need someone to choose you in order to feel valuable, you may tolerate almost anything to keep them. And that is where self-abandonment begins. So today, choose yourself again, not against anyone, not in anger, not in bitterness, but with quiet self-respect. Say to yourself, I will not betray myself for acceptance. I will not sacrifice my peace just to avoid disappointing someone. I can love others without losing myself. My needs matter too. My feelings deserve to be heard. My boundaries deserve to be respected. I don't have to earn love by suffering. I don't have to become smaller to make someone else comfortable. I will stay connected to myself while I love other people. Take a deep breath and think about the version of yourself who spent years trying to be everything everyone else wanted. Don't hate that version of you. That person was probably trying to survive. Maybe they learned that being useful meant being loved. Maybe they learned that saying no created conflict. Maybe they learned that keeping quiet was safer. Maybe they believed that if they could just become easier to love, nobody would leave. Forgive that version of yourself. They were doing what they thought they had to do. But you know more now. You understand more now. And you can choose differently now. You can teach yourself that love doesn't require self-erasure. You can teach yourself that disagreement doesn't automatically mean rejection. You can teach yourself that someone being disappointed doesn't mean you failed. You can teach yourself that being alone for a season is better than being surrounded by people who require you to abandon yourself. And you can teach yourself that your own presence matters. This morning, make a quiet promise. I will not leave myself just because someone else might leave. Ride that again in your mind. I will not leave myself just because someone else might leave. That means when life gets difficult, you stay on your own side. When you make a mistake, you stay on your own side. When someone rejects you, you stay on your own side. When someone misunderstands you, you stay on your own side. When your plans fail, you stay on your own side. When you're uncertain about the future, you stay on your own side. You don't turn against yourself. You don't become cruel to yourself. You don't use someone else's behavior as an excuse to destroy your own confidence. You come back to yourself. You breathe. You listen. You learn. You adjust. And you continue. Because the relationship you have with yourself is the one relationship you carry into every room, every friendship, every career, every relationship, and every season of your life. So make that relationship healthier. Stop abandoning yourself to be accepted. Stop shrinking yourself to be loved. Stop betraying your needs to avoid conflict. Stop confusing sacrifice with love. Stop believing that you have to earn the right to be treated well. You deserve relationships where you can be yourself. You deserve relationships where your voice matters. You deserve relationships where giving and receiving are both possible. And most importantly, you deserve a relationship with yourself where you don't constantly have to earn your own approval. Today, Choose yourself. Quietly, consistently, without guilt, without apology, and without needing anyone else to understand, because you can love people deeply without leaving yourself behind. And from this day forward, let this be your promise. I will never again make myself the price of being loved. Chapter 6. Forgive the person you used to be. Now take a moment to breathe, because this chapter is about something many people struggle to give themselves. Forgiveness. Not forgiveness for someone who hurt you. Not forgiveness for someone who disappointed you. This time, forgiveness is for you, for the person you used to be, for the decisions you made before you knew what you know today, for the moments you wish you could go back and change, for the opportunities you missed, the words you wish you had never spoken, the people you wish you had never trusted, and the moments when you didn't recognize your own worth. You cannot build a peaceful future while constantly putting your past self on trial. And yet, so many people do exactly that. They wake up carrying old mistakes as though those mistakes happened yesterday. They replay conversations from years ago. They remember embarrassing moments and still feel the same shame. They think about relationships that ended and wonder what they could have done differently. They look at choices they made when they were younger and judge themselves using knowledge they didn't have at the time. But stop for a moment and think about that. You are judging an old version of yourself with information that version of you did not possess. You know more now because you lived through those experiences. You understand more now because you made mistakes. You recognize certain patterns now because you experienced their consequences. You have stronger boundaries now because you learned what happens when you don't have them. You understand your worth more deeply because you've experienced what it feels like to forget it. That doesn't mean every mistake was necessary or acceptable. It simply means that you can acknowledge what happened without spending the rest of your life punishing yourself for it. There is a difference between taking responsibility and carrying shame forever. Responsibility says, I made a mistake. I understand what happened. I will learn from it. I will make a different choice next time. Shame says, I made a mistake. Therefore, I am a terrible person, and I deserve to keep suffering because of it. Responsibility creates growth. Shame keeps you trapped. And today, you are allowed to choose growth. Maybe you stayed in a relationship longer than you should have. Maybe you ignored warning signs. Maybe you trusted someone who didn't deserve your trust. Maybe you wasted years trying to impress people who were never going to appreciate you. Maybe you didn't take an opportunity because you were afraid. Maybe you spent money you wish you had saved. Maybe you gave up on something too soon. Maybe you treated someone poorly. Maybe you treated yourself poorly. Maybe you spent years believing that you weren't capable of more. Whatever it was, acknowledge it. Don't run from it. Don't pretend it didn't happen. Look at it honestly. And then ask yourself, what did this experience teach me? That question transforms the past. Instead of seeing your history only as a collection of failures, you begin seeing it as a collection of lessons. Maybe the relationship taught you what you will never tolerate again. Maybe the failure taught you how to prepare differently. Maybe the rejection taught you that your worth cannot depend on being chosen. Maybe the difficult season taught you that you are stronger than you thought. Maybe the wrong decision taught you how to make better decisions today. Maybe the time you wasted taught you how precious your time actually is. Your past can become a teacher without remaining your prison. You don't have to keep reopening an old wound simply to prove that you remember what happened. You can learn the lesson and move forward. Think about the younger version of you. Imagine that person standing in front of you. Maybe they were confused. Maybe they were insecure. Maybe they were desperate to be loved. Maybe they didn't know how to communicate. Maybe they didn't understand boundaries. Maybe they were trying desperately to fit in. Maybe they were making decisions based on fear. Maybe they were simply doing the best they could with the emotional tools they had at the time. Would you look at that younger person and tell them they are worthless? Would you tell them they don't deserve another chance? Would you tell them that one mistake should define their entire life? Probably not. You would probably tell them, you didn't know everything yet. You're going to learn. You're going to grow. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to survive things you can't imagine right now. And perhaps most importantly, you are still worthy of love. So why not say those words to yourself today? You are still worthy of love, even after your mistakes, even after your failures, even after the wrong decisions, even after the years you wish you could have back. You are still here. And that means your story isn't finished. Take a slow breath and say, I forgive myself for what I didn't know. I forgive myself for the mistakes I made while learning. I forgive myself for the times I ignored my own needs. I forgive myself for accepting less than I deserved. I forgive myself for the opportunities I was too afraid to take. I forgive myself for the times I abandoned myself. I forgive myself for believing I wasn't enough. I release the need to punish myself for becoming who I am today. Let those words settle. You don't have to believe every word immediately. Forgiveness can begin as a decision before it becomes a feeling. You can decide today that you are no longer interested in attacking yourself for the rest of your life. You can decide that your mistakes will become lessons instead of labels. You can decide that your past will inform you without controlling you. And you can decide that the person you are becoming deserves your attention more than the person you used to be. Because every time you spend hours obsessing over an old mistake, you are taking energy away from the person you could become. The past cannot be changed, but the meaning you give it can change. You may not be able to erase what happened, but you can decide what happens next. That is where your power lives. Maybe you made a terrible decision. Okay, what is the wiser decision now? Maybe you wasted years. Okay, how will you use the years ahead? Maybe you hurt someone. Okay, how can you become someone who communicates and loves differently? Maybe you neglected yourself. Okay, how will you care for yourself now? You don't honor your past by remaining trapped inside it. You honor it by learning from it. And there is another part of forgiveness that matters. Forgiving yourself does not mean avoiding accountability. If you hurt someone, take responsibility. If you made a mistake, correct what you can. If you owe someone an apology, give it when appropriate. If you need to repair something, repair it. But after you have done what you can, allow yourself to move forward. You don't have to spend the next 10 years punishing yourself for one chapter. Make amends where possible. Learn the lesson. Then continue living. You deserve a future that is not controlled by your worst memory. So this morning, release the sentence, I should have known better. Replace it with, now I know better. Replace, why did I do that? With, what can I learn from that? Replace, I ruined everything. With, this chapter didn't go the way I wanted, but the story isn't over. Replace, I wasted my life. With, I can still choose what I do with the life ahead of me. These are not excuses. They are invitations to grow, and maybe you need to forgive yourself for something that nobody else even knows about. Maybe there is something you have carried silently for years, something you regret, something you wish you could undo, something you rarely talk about. If that is you, take a breath. You don't need to solve the entire past today, but you can stop using that memory as a weapon against yourself. You can say, I remember what happened. I understand what it taught me. I will carry the wisdom, but I will release the punishment. That is a powerful form of self-love, because the person you used to be cannot come back and fix everything. But the person you are today can make different choices. You can be more patient, more honest, more disciplined, more courageous, more selective about who you trust, more protective of your time, more compassionate toward yourself. You can become the person your younger self needed. And perhaps that's one of the most beautiful ways to heal. Instead of wishing you had been different back then, become different now. Instead of asking, "Why didn't anyone teach me this?" Start teaching it to yourself. Instead of asking, "Why didn't I protect myself?" Start protecting yourself now. Instead of asking, "Why did I accept so little?" Start choosing better now. Your future self is waiting for the decisions you make today. So forgive yourself, not because the past didn't matter, but because your future matters too. Take one final deep breath and say, "I release my old identity. I release the shame that no longer serves me. I keep the lessons and release the punishment. I am not my worst mistake. I am not my past. I am allowed to grow beyond who I used to be. I am allowed to begin again." And remember this throughout your day. You don't have to become the person you wish you had been yesterday. You only have to become the person you want to be today. The past version of you did what they knew. The present version of you knows more. So use that knowledge. Use it wisely. Use it with compassion. Use it to build something better. Your story is still being written. And today, you get to write the next page without carrying every page that came before it on your back. Forgive the person you used to be. Thank them for helping you become who you are. Learn from them, release them, and then keep walking forward. Chapter 7. Protect your energy without becoming cold. As you continue learning to love yourself, forgive yourself, and stop abandoning yourself for other people, there is one more important lesson you need to carry into your day. Protect your energy without becoming cold. You do not have to close your heart just because some people have hurt you. You do not have to stop caring because someone took advantage of your kindness. You do not have to become emotionally distant simply because you learned that not everyone deserves unlimited access to your time, attention, and peace. You can have a soft heart and strong boundaries. You can be kind without being available to everyone. You can forgive without giving someone permission to hurt you again. You can love people without carrying their problems as if they were your own. And you can protect your peace without becoming bitter. Your energy is precious. Think of your energy as your attention, your emotional capacity, your time, your focus, and your ability to respond thoughtfully to life. Every day, people, situations, notifications, conversations, and problems will compete for those resources. If you give everything your attention, you will eventually have nothing left for the things that truly matter. That is why protecting your energy isn't about becoming selfish. It is about becoming intentional. Not everything deserves a reaction. Not every opinion deserves an explanation. Not every argument deserves your participation. Not every message requires an immediate response. Not every problem belongs to you. And not every person deserves unlimited access to you. This morning, remind yourself of something simple. You are allowed to choose where your attention goes. You don't have to respond to every negative comment. You don't have to prove yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. You don't have to participate in gossip. You don't have to carry someone else's anger into your entire day. You don't have to spend hours replaying a conversation that lasted 5 minutes. And you certainly don't have to let someone else's bad mood become your bad mood. Other people's emotions can exist around you without becoming your responsibility. Imagine someone wakes up angry and speaks to you harshly. You have a choice. You can absorb their anger, carry it with you, replay their words all morning, and allow their emotional state to control yours. Or you can pause and remind yourself, that emotion belongs to them. I don't have to carry it. That doesn't mean you ignore inappropriate behavior. If someone treats you disrespectfully, you can address it. You can communicate clearly. You can create distance. You can set a boundary. But you don't have to become disrespectful in return. You don't have to match their chaos. You don't have to become the thing that hurt you. That is emotional strength. You can remain calm without being passive. You can be firm without being cruel. You can walk away without hatred. You can protect yourself without wishing harm on anyone else. And sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. There will be moments today when someone tries to pull you into unnecessary drama. Maybe someone wants an argument. Maybe someone makes a provocative comment. Maybe someone tries to get you to defend yourself over something that doesn't actually matter. Before reacting, pause. Ask yourself, does this deserve my energy? That question can save you hours of unnecessary emotional exhaustion. Because not every battle is worth winning. Some arguments can be won and still leave you exhausted. Some conversations can prove you are right and still destroy your peace. Some people can be convinced and still not respect you. So choose carefully. Ask yourself, will this matter tomorrow? Will responding improve the situation? Does this align with the person I want to be? Am I responding from wisdom or from anger? If the answer is unclear, pause. You don't have to respond immediately. Silence can be a form of self-control. A delayed response can be a form of wisdom. Walking away can be a form of strength. And protecting your energy also means becoming careful about what you consume. Every morning, before you even get out of bed, you may have access to thousands of opinions, arguments, headlines, complaints, advertisements, and other people's carefully edited lives. If you begin your day by feeding your mind chaos, don't be surprised when your mind feels chaotic. Give yourself a chance to establish your own emotional state before allowing the outside world to influence it. Before scrolling, breathe. Before checking every notification, breathe. Before entering someone else's emotional world, check in with your own. Ask, how do I want to feel today? Maybe the answer is peaceful. Maybe focused. Maybe confident. Maybe grateful. Maybe productive. Then protect that intention. This doesn't mean avoiding reality. It means choosing when and how you engage with it. You don't have to consume everything simply because it is available. You don't have to know every opinion. You don't have to follow every argument. You don't have to keep checking things that repeatedly disturb your peace. Sometimes protecting your energy means putting the phone down. Sometimes it means leaving the room. Sometimes it means changing the subject. Sometimes it means saying, I'm not available for this conversation right now. Sometimes it means going to sleep instead of continuing an argument at midnight. These choices may seem small, but they teach your mind something important. My peace matters, and there is another part of protecting your energy that is even more important. Stop spending emotional energy on things you cannot control. You cannot control whether everyone likes you. You cannot control how someone interprets your intentions. You cannot control another person's choices. You cannot control the past. You cannot control every future event. You cannot control whether someone recognizes your value. But you can control your attention. You can control your choices. You can control your response. You can control what you repeatedly tell yourself. You can control what you allow into your environment. You can control whether you keep moving forward. So today, whenever you notice yourself obsessing over something outside your control, gently bring your attention back. Ask, what is actually mine to handle? Then handle that. Leave the rest. You don't have to carry the entire world on your shoulders to prove that you care. Sometimes caring means knowing what belongs to you and what doesn't. You can support someone without rescuing them. You can listen without solving everything. You can love someone without taking responsibility for every decision they make. You can be compassionate without becoming emotionally exhausted. That is a healthier kind of love. And don't confuse emotional protection with emotional isolation. You don't need to shut everyone out. You need discernment. There is a difference between building walls and building boundaries. Walls say, nobody gets in. Boundaries say, I decide who gets access, how much access they receive, and what behavior I will accept. Walls can isolate you. Boundaries can protect your relationships. So don't become cold, become selective. Don't stop loving. Learn to love wisely. Don't stop trusting. Learn to trust gradually. Don't stop caring. Learn where your care can actually make a difference. Your kindness is not a weakness. Your sensitivity is not a flaw. Your compassion is not something you need to destroy. You simply need to stop giving those qualities to situations that constantly exploit them. Take a deep breath and repeat these words. My attention is valuable. My peace matters. I choose what deserves my energy. I can be kind without being available to everyone. I can have boundaries without becoming cold. I can forgive without returning to unhealthy situations. I don't need to respond to every provocation. I release what I cannot control. I protect my peace without closing my heart. I choose wisdom over reaction. Let those words become your emotional shield today. When negativity comes towards you, you don't have to absorb it. When criticism comes towards you, you can examine it without becoming it. When someone is angry, you don't have to become angry. When someone misunderstands you, you don't have to spend the entire day proving yourself. When someone walks away, you don't have to chase them. When someone brings chaos, you can choose calm. This is what it means to protect your energy. You are not building a fortress around your heart. You are becoming the gatekeeper of your attention. You decide what enters. You decide what stays. And you decide what must leave. So today, protect 5 things. Protect your peace from unnecessary arguments. Protect your attention from endless distractions. Protect your time from people who constantly demand without respecting your limits. Protect your mind from thoughts that repeatedly attack your worth. And protect your future from habits that give temporary comfort but create long-term regret. You don't need to do this perfectly. Just become more intentional. Before you say yes, pause. Before you react, breathe. Before you argue, ask whether it matters. Before you absorb someone's negativity, remind yourself that their emotions are not automatically yours. Before you give away your energy, ask whether what you're giving is aligned with the life you're trying to build. And remember this, you can remain a loving person without remaining an available person. You can care about people without allowing them to consume you. You can be generous without becoming empty. You can be compassionate without becoming responsible for everyone. And you can protect your peace without losing your warmth. That balance is strength. So, as you step into the rest of your day, carry this sentence with you. I will not become cold because I have been hurt. I will become wiser because I have learned. You don't need to harden your heart. You need to strengthen your boundaries. You don't need to stop loving. You need to stop abandoning yourself in the name of love. You don't need to control the world around you. You need to become intentional about what you allow into your inner world. Today, choose calm, choose discernment, choose boundaries, choose compassion, choose yourself, and let your energy belong to the things that deserve it most. Your growth, your peace, your health, your relationships, your purpose, and the life you are becoming capable of creating. Your heart can remain soft, your mind can remain strong, and your boundaries can remain firm. You can protect your energy without becoming cold. Chapter 8. Become the person you've been waiting for. There comes a moment in your life when you realize that the person you have been waiting for may actually be you. The person who will finally encourage you. The person who will believe in you. The person who will stop you from settling. The person who will take your dreams seriously. The person who will protect your future. The person who will tell you, you can do this. That person may not arrive from somewhere outside your life. You may have been waiting for yourself all along. Take a deep breath and let that thought settle in. How much of your life have you spent waiting for the perfect moment? Waiting for someone to recognize your potential? Waiting for someone to give you an opportunity? Waiting for the right relationship to make you feel complete? Waiting for motivation to suddenly appear? Waiting until you feel confident enough to begin? Waiting until life becomes easier before you finally take yourself seriously? But what if you stopped waiting? What if today became the day you decided to become the person you've been waiting for? This doesn't mean you have to do everything alone. You can receive help. You can learn from mentors. You can accept support from people who care about you. You can build relationships and community. But there is a difference between receiving support and waiting for someone else to take responsibility for your life. At some point, you have to step forward. You have to decide that your dreams matter enough to act on. You have to decide that your future deserves your attention. You have to decide that your life cannot remain on pause while you wait for someone else to make you feel ready. Because confidence rarely arrives before action. Most of the time, confidence is created by action. You don't wait until you feel confident to start exercising. You start exercising, and eventually, you become more confident in your ability to take care of yourself. You don't wait until you completely believe in yourself before starting something difficult. You start, you struggle, you learn, you improve, and slowly you develop evidence that you can handle difficult things. That evidence becomes confidence. So if you've been waiting to feel ready, understand this: you may never feel completely ready. And that's okay. You don't need complete certainty. You need willingness. You need the courage to take the next step while some uncertainty still exists. Maybe you've been telling yourself, one day I'll start. One day I'll write the book. One day I'll start the business. One day I'll improve my health. One day I'll learn the skill. One day I'll become financially disciplined. One day I'll leave the situation that keeps draining me. One day I'll finally become confident. But one day is not a date. If you keep waiting for one day, years can pass without anything changing. So bring your attention back to today. What can you do today? Not everything, just something. One phone call, one application, one workout, one page, 1 hour of focused work, one honest conversation, one healthy decision, one small promise kept. Never underestimate what one disciplined action can begin. Your future is built through ordinary decisions repeated consistently. You don't need to transform your entire identity overnight. You need to begin acting like the person you want to become. If you want to become disciplined, practice discipline today. If you want to become confident, practice keeping promises to yourself today. If you want to become peaceful, practice responding instead of reacting today. If you want to become financially responsible, make one responsible financial decision today. If you want to become healthier, make one healthier choice today. If you want to become courageous, do one thing today that you've been avoiding because you're afraid. Identity follows action. The more you behave like the person you want to become, the more natural that identity begins to feel. And there is something else you need to understand. Stop waiting for permission. You don't need everyone to understand your dream before you pursue it. You don't need everyone to believe in you before you believe in yourself. You don't need everyone to agree with your decision before you make it. Sometimes the people around you will not understand what you see. Sometimes they will question you. Sometimes they will tell you to be realistic. Sometimes they will remind you of every reason something might fail. Listen when advice is useful, but don't automatically surrender your future to someone else's fear. Your life belongs to you. And that means you have to become responsible for what you do with it. You can no longer keep blaming your past for every decision you make today. Yes, your past influenced you. Yes, difficult experiences shaped you. Yes, some things happened that were outside your control, but there is still a part of your life that belongs to you. your next decision, your next habit, your next conversation, your next step. That is where your power begins. So instead of asking, "Why hasn't someone saved me?" ask, "How can I support myself today?" Instead of asking, "Why doesn't anyone believe in me?" ask, "What evidence can I create today that I am capable?" Instead of asking, "When will my life finally change?" ask, "What can I change today?" These questions return your power to you, and becoming the person you've been waiting for also means becoming someone your future self can trust. Imagine yourself 1 year from now. Imagine waking up as a person who kept the promises you are making today. What would that person look like? Maybe they are healthier. Maybe they're calmer. Maybe they're financially stronger. Maybe they've developed a valuable skill. Maybe they have stronger boundaries. Maybe they no longer chase people who don't reciprocate. Maybe they have finally started the project they kept postponing. Maybe they have become comfortable with who they are. That future version of you is not created by one huge decision. They are created by today's small choices. Every morning, you are voting for the person you will eventually become. When you choose discipline, you cast a vote for a disciplined identity. When you choose patience, you cast a vote for a patient identity. When you choose courage, you cast a vote for a courageous identity. When you choose self-respect, you cast a vote for a self-respecting identity. And when you choose to give up, that choice also teaches you something. So, don't wait for motivation. Build systems. Don't wait for confidence. Take action. Don't wait for perfect circumstances. Use what you have. Don't wait for everyone to approve. Learn to approve of your own direction. This doesn't mean rushing. You can move slowly. You can take breaks. You can change direction. You can ask for help. You can make mistakes. You simply cannot keep abandoning your own potential because you are afraid of failing. Failure is not proof that you should never have tried. Sometimes failure is information. It tells you what needs to change. It teaches you what didn't work. It forces you to become more capable. It introduces you to parts of yourself you may never have discovered if everything had been easy. So don't be afraid of beginning imperfectly. Begin anyway. Take the first step, then adjust, then learn. Then take another step. That is how lives change. Take a deep breath now and repeat these words. I am becoming the person I've been waiting for. I take responsibility for the direction of my life. I don't need to feel ready to begin. I can take one brave step today. I trust myself to learn as I go. I keep promises to myself. I am capable of creating change. My future is built by what I do today. I don't wait for permission to become who I am capable of becoming. Let those words settle into your mind. Then ask yourself one final question. What is one thing the future version of me would thank me for doing today? Maybe you already know the answer. Do it. Don't overthink it. Don't wait for the perfect mood. Don't wait until tomorrow. Start today. Because the person you've been waiting for isn't coming to rescue you from your life. They are being created by you. Every choice, every boundary, every morning, every small act of courage, every promise you keep, every time you get back up, every time you choose yourself, you are becoming that person. And maybe the most powerful realization is this. You don't need to become someone completely different. You need to become more deeply aligned with who you already know you can be. The confident version, the disciplined version, the peaceful version, the courageous version, the focused version, the self-respecting version, the version who stops waiting for life to begin and starts participating in creating it. That person is already inside you. Now you have to give them a chance to lead. So when you finish this audiobook today, don't simply feel inspired. Do something. Take one action. Keep one promise. Make one decision. Start one small habit. Because inspiration without action disappears. But action creates evidence. Evidence creates confidence. Confidence creates momentum. and momentum can change a life. So today, stop waiting. Stop waiting for someone to believe in you. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting until you feel fearless. Stop waiting until you feel completely ready. Take the next step, because the person you've been waiting for has been with you all along. It is you. Chapter 9. The Daily Self-in-Love Morning Routine. Now that you've spent this morning learning how to choose yourself, trust yourself, protect your peace, and stop measuring your worth through other people, it's time to turn those ideas into something practical. Because self-love should not remain a beautiful idea that sounds good while you're listening. It should become something you practice. Something you can return to every morning. A simple routine that reminds you, before the world gets loud, that your relationship with yourself deserves attention too. You don't need a complicated morning routine. You don't need to wake up at 5 in the morning, meditate for an hour, exercise for 2 hours, or completely transform your life before breakfast. You need a few intentional minutes where you reconnect with yourself. Think of this as your daily self-love reset. A small ritual that helps you begin your day from a place of peace rather than pressure. Start with the first step. Breathe. Before you reach for your phone, before you check your notifications, before you begin thinking about everything you need to accomplish, take a few slow breaths. Inhale gently and allow yourself to arrive in the present moment. Exhale and release some of the tension you carried into the morning. As you breathe in, say silently, I am here. As you breathe out, say, I am safe in this moment. Again, breathe in, I am here. Breathe out, I release what I cannot control. You are reminding your mind that the day has not happened yet. You don't have to solve every problem before it arrives. You don't have to carry tomorrow into today. This moment is enough. Then move to the second step. Appreciate. Before your mind begins listing everything that is wrong, intentionally notice what is right. Think of 3 things you are grateful for. They don't have to be extraordinary. Maybe you're grateful that you woke up this morning. Maybe you're grateful for your health. Maybe you're grateful for a person who loves you. Maybe you're grateful for a peaceful moment. Maybe you're grateful for the opportunity to start again. Maybe you're grateful simply for having another day to become more of yourself. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending your problems don't exist. It means refusing to allow your problems to become the only things you can see. So this morning, pause and say, I am grateful for this day. I am grateful for another opportunity. I am grateful that I am still growing. Let gratitude change the atmosphere of your mind before you enter the demands of the world. Then comes the third step, affirm. Now, speak to yourself intentionally. You have spent enough time listening to criticism, comparison, fear, doubt, and outside expectations. This is your opportunity to choose different words. Say, I am worthy. I am capable. I am learning. I trust myself. I am becoming stronger. I deserve healthy relationships. I deserve peace. I am allowed to take up space. I don't need to be perfect to be valuable. I can handle today one step at a time. Don't rush through these words. Let them breathe. You are not trying to convince yourself that everything is perfect. You are reminding yourself of truths that are easy to forget when life becomes overwhelming. Then comes the fourth step. Decide. This is one of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself every morning. Who do I want to be today? Notice that the question is not, what do I need to accomplish? Accomplishments matter, but identity comes first. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be patient today? Do you want to be focused? Do you want to be courageous? Do you want to be calm? Do you want to be disciplined? Do you want to be kind? Do you want to be kind? Do you want to be honest? Do you want to be present? Choose one quality. Then look for opportunities throughout the day to practice it. If you choose patience, you will have opportunities to practice patience. If you choose courage, something may challenge you to be courageous. If you choose discipline, There will be moments when you need to do something you don't feel like doing. If you choose peace, there may be situations that test whether you can protect it. That is how a morning intention becomes a real transformation. Then comes the fifth and final step: act. Choose one small action that proves your commitment to yourself, not 10 actions, not 21. Maybe you'll exercise. Maybe you'll read. Maybe you'll work on your business. Maybe you'll organize your finances. Maybe you'll clean your space. Maybe you'll send the email you've been avoiding. Maybe you'll spend less time on your phone. Maybe you'll take a proper break. Maybe you'll finally begin something you've been postponing. The action itself is less important than the message it sends to your mind. I keep promises to myself. That message is powerful because every time you follow through, you build self-trust. And self-trust is one of the foundations of genuine confidence. You don't have to wait for someone else to tell you that you're becoming stronger. You can see the evidence yourself. You said you would do something, and you did it. You said you would protect your peace, and you did. You said you would stop chasing someone, and you did. You said you would take care of yourself, and you did. You said you would begin, and you began. That is how confidence grows. Not through endless thinking, through evidence, through action. So let's put the entire routine together. Step 1. Breathe, return to the present. Step 2. Appreciate. Notice what is good. Step 3. Affirm. Remind yourself who you are. Step 4. Decide. Choose who you want to be today. Step 5. Act. Take one step that proves it. 5 simple steps, and you can complete them in just a few minutes. You can do this while sitting quietly in bed. You can do it while drinking your morning coffee. You can do it while getting ready. You can even listen to this audiobook while walking. The goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency. You don't need to have a perfect morning every morning. Some days you will wake up tired. Some days you will feel unmotivated. Some days you will be stressed before the day even begins. That's okay. Self-love means meeting yourself where you are. If today is difficult, make the routine smaller. Take one breath. Think of one thing you're grateful for. Say one kind thing to yourself. Choose one intention. Take one small action. That's enough. You are not trying to perform self-love. You are practicing it. And over time, these small practices can change the way you experience your mornings. Instead of waking up and immediately asking, "What does the world need from me?" you begin asking, "What do I need from myself?" Instead of beginning the day with comparison, you begin with gratitude. Instead of beginning with criticism, you begin with compassion. Instead of beginning with fear, you begin with intention. Instead of beginning by chasing other people's attention, you begin by giving yourself attention. That is a powerful morning mindset shift. So, tomorrow morning, before you reach for the outside world, return to yourself. Breathe, appreciate, affirm, decide, act. And remember that every morning is another opportunity to strengthen the relationship you have with yourself. You don't have to become a completely different person overnight. Just become someone who takes care of themselves a little more intentionally today. Someone who speaks to themselves a little more kindly. Someone who protects their attention a little more carefully. Someone who keeps one more promise. Someone who chooses peace one more time. Someone who remembers, "I am worth showing up for." And tomorrow morning, when you wake up, begin again. Because self-love is not one grand decision. It is a daily practice, a daily choice, a daily return to yourself. And every time you choose yourself with patience, courage, and respect, you become a little more like the person you were always meant to be. And now, as we come to the final moments of this morning audiobook, I want you to slow down. You don't need to rush into the rest of your day yet. Take one more deep breath. Let your shoulders relax. Let your mind become quiet. Everything we have talked about this morning comes back to one simple truth. The way you treat yourself matters. You have learned that you are allowed to love yourself. You don't have to earn your worth through achievement, attention, approval, or perfection. You have learned to stop comparing your journey to someone else's timeline. You have learned that your past does not have to control your future. You have learned to protect your energy without becoming cold, to create boundaries without losing your compassion, and to become the person you've been waiting for. Now it's time to carry those lessons with you. These are not simply affirmations to repeat without thought. These are declarations, reminders of the person you are choosing to become. So listen slowly. If one of these words speaks directly to you, repeat it quietly in your mind. Let it become part of your morning. Take a deep breath and begin. I am worthy of love. I do not have to earn my right to be loved. I do not have to become perfect before I deserve kindness. I am worthy while I am learning, while I am growing, and while I am becoming. I am worthy of respect. I respect myself enough to honor my values, protect my boundaries, and make decisions that support the person I want to become. I do not need constant approval to know my worth. Other people's opinions may change, but my value does not rise and fall with their reactions. I can listen without losing myself. I can accept feedback without turning it into self-hatred. I trust myself. I may not know exactly what the future holds, but I trust myself to learn, adapt, and take the next step. I forgive myself for the past. I release the need to punish myself for things I did before I knew what I know today. I keep the lessons. I release the shame. I am not my mistakes. I am not my worst decision. I am not my most painful chapter. I am not the rejection I experienced. I am not the person I used to be. I am still becoming. I respect my journey. I don't need to be where someone else is. I don't need to rush my life because another person's life looks further ahead. My timeline is my own. I refuse to compare my worth to someone else's life. Someone else's success does not diminish my potential. Someone else's beauty does not diminish mine. Someone else's progress does not mean I am failing. I focus on my own path. Today, I will put my attention where it can create change. I will focus on what I can control, what I can improve, and what I can contribute. I protect my peace. Not everything deserves my reaction. Not every opinion deserves my attention. Not every argument deserves my energy. I choose carefully what I allow into my mind. I protect my energy without closing my heart. I can remain kind while having boundaries. I can remain compassionate without carrying everyone's problems. I can remain loving without abandoning myself. I am allowed to say no. I do not have to agree to everything to be a good person. I can respect other people's needs while respecting my own. I will not abandon myself to keep someone else. I can love people without losing myself. I can care deeply without disappearing inside someone else's expectations. My needs matter too. My rest matters. My health matters. My time matters. My dreams matter. My emotional well-being matters. And I am allowed to take care of myself. I am becoming someone I can trust. Every promise I keep strengthens me. Every healthy decision teaches me that I can depend on myself. I am becoming more confident, not because everyone approves of me, but because I am learning to approve of the person I am becoming. I am becoming more disciplined. I don't need to feel motivated every moment. I can take action because my future matters. I am becoming more peaceful. I cannot control everything that happens around me, but I can choose how I respond. I am becoming stronger. Every challenge I face gives me an opportunity to discover another part of my strength. I am allowed to begin again. If yesterday didn't go well, today is another opportunity. If I made a mistake, I can learn. If I lost my way, I can return. If I stopped believing in myself, I can begin believing again. I choose myself today, not against anyone else. Not because other people don't matter, but because I matter too. I will give myself the same patience I give to others, the same forgiveness, the same encouragement, the same compassion, the same opportunity to grow. Take another deep breath. And remember, You don't have to change your entire life today. You don't have to solve every problem. You don't have to become your best self before breakfast. You simply have to take the next right step, one healthy choice, one honest decision, one boundary, one act of courage, one moment of patience, one promise kept. That is enough for today. And when the world becomes loud, remember this morning. When someone makes you question yourself, remember your worth. When comparison appears, remember your journey. When your past tries to pull you backward, remember that you have grown. When you feel overwhelmed, breathe. When you feel uncertain, take the next step. When you feel like giving up, remember how far you've already come. And when you are tempted to give everyone else your love while leaving nothing for yourself, stop. Come back to yourself, because you are worth showing up for. You are worth protecting. You are worth forgiving. You are worth believing in. You are worth becoming. So before you enter the rest of your day, make one final promise to yourself. No matter what happens today, I will not turn against myself. I will speak to myself with kindness. I will protect my peace. I will honor my boundaries. I will focus on my own journey. I will learn from my mistakes. I will take action toward my future. And I will remember that my worth does not depend on how the world responds to me. Today, I choose peace. Today, I choose courage. Today, I choose growth. Today, I choose self-respect. Today, I choose love. And most importantly, today, I choose myself. Take one final breath. Let go of yesterday. Don't worry about tomorrow yet. This morning is yours. This moment is yours. And your life is still being written. So go into this day with your head held high, your heart open, and your mind grounded in the truth that you are already worthy. You don't need to chase your value. You don't need to prove your value. You don't need to beg for your value. You simply need to remember it. And tomorrow morning, come back again, breathe again, choose yourself again, speak kindly to yourself again, and continue becoming the person you were always capable of becoming. You are worthy. You are capable. You are growing. You are enough. And today, you choose yourself.